Hey everybody, Bobby Emer here, and today I'm going to talk about uh, something about vulnerability. So the question was, so I'm part of the 5-day kick-ass video challenge with Jan Keck and Natalia, and the question was, what is the biggest moment of vulnerability in my life? So what I thought I'd do is share my thoughts about my most personal vulnerable story and the biggest lesson of my life. So we're going to go back to 2005, 2006. That's where everything happened. I was working in a big corporate job with Unilever in brand marketing on the Dove campaign. It was amazing. I enjoyed myself. Meanwhile, my wife and I were trying to start a family. We were having trouble, and a few things were happening. My work was taking over my life. I was working about 80 hours a week. I had a laptop, so I'd work from 8 a.m. to about 9 p.m. and then even on weekends I'd have my laptop at home and I'd be working late at night. It was pretty crazy. Um, I had trouble starting a family, so I went to the doctor in December, and I never checked the results. I finally went back in May to check the results. I checked the results, and so I was so busy with work, couldn't even go to the doctor for 4 months. So then I went to the doctor in March, and he said, "I think there's something wrong." And so I said, "Okay, fine." So then I went to the doctor again, took another blood test, and then a week later he said, "It looks like you have diabetes." And I didn't really get it at first. I didn't really understand what it was all about or what a big deal it was. In fact, after I got the news, I started binging. I went on a trip to Montreal and started binging, which is stupid, but emotions and trauma and things like that make us do stupid things. So then, but basically, my blood sugar, a normal blood sugar is under 6.6, under 6 or so. My resting blood sugar in December was 12. My resting blood sugar in March was 16, and that's why I also was feeling weak, and I was also feeling tired, fatigued, and I was thirsty all the time. I had my first anxiety attack of my life during work, which is another side thing that happened. So everything from December to March or December to May, I'm going to talk about the 6 months. So then, I realized I need to get my life under control and really fix things. So I went to my work and I said, "Look, I need to take 2 weeks off." And they also mentioned too, the doctor said that everything happened because my whole life was the same except for the fact that my hours were crazy. My work was stressing me out, and I was working 8 hours a week. So he suggested, you need to get some support from work to not to work crazy hours. So I went to my work and I said, "Okay, you know what? I need to take 2 weeks off, and I'd like to then scale back my hours from 80 hours a week, which is crazy, to a more reasonable 50 hours a week," is what I suggested. Anyway, 3 weeks later, I got a package from my work, and they said, "See ya." And that hit me pretty hard because I was like, "Okay, so what you're saying is you don't want to work with me. You don't want to work with what I'm dealing with. You'd rather have me leave." I mean, you were getting the 80 hours, so I guess you're sad that you're losing that too. And yeah, I was packaged out, and it kind of threw me. It made me think. And what's the life lesson? I mean, one of the things is, I was feeling lost. I was feeling stuck with my health and also with my career in terms of where I wanted to go. And at the end of the day, they let me go. And I loved my work. I actually enjoyed what I was doing. It was actually quite fun, but they let me go because for whatever reasons. But I used that. Now, if things didn't get better, then what happened was, so I worked on getting better and getting my blood sugar down normal, working out, trying to lose some weight. And then 2 months later, my wife almost died of E. coli. So she was in the hospital. It was a crazy, crazy day. She almost died. If someone had been there, in fact, my brother was there to pick her up at home. He happened to be home, and he carried her to the car, I think the car, to take them to the hospital, where she collapsed. And um, had she been at home, she would have died. And so I got to the hospital because I was out. I got to the hospital, and there she was, and there was like 6, 7 doctors working on her, and it was just the most surreal experience I've ever seen. Watching her just helpless there, and they were keeping her alive with machines, and there was a lot of blood everywhere because they were putting stuff right directly into her biggest vein or artery, And so that was May, same time. And at this point, I'd left my job and I was unemployed. I had a nice package, which is fine. But she was going through all that stuff, and eventually they finally stabilized her. Probably about 10 hours later, and then she was in the ICU for a week, and then in the hospital for another week. So for 2 weeks, I was taking care of her. And so this whole story of diabetes and leaving the corporate job and getting packaged out because they want to deal with it, and then my wife's situation really threw me and threw us all. And so what's the lesson there? I mean, it shaped a lot of what I believed. I mean, the first thing, our health is so important, and that was the beginning of recognizing the importance of our health, because anything can happen anytime. And I learned that back then. I even learned it this year when my father-in-law had a stroke out of nowhere and then died within 2 weeks. So it happens. But the big lesson was the thing with the corporate thing, which is, I think the corporate, I mean, I'm an entrepreneur now, which is great, and I love what I'm doing, but I tell everyone now, like, by all means, leverage the corporate entity and the structure and the lifestyle for a certain period of time. But ultimately, you need to figure out to build your own dream. You have to ultimately find your exit strategy, whether it's 5, 10, 15 years. More than 15 years is too much in my mind, but like you can, within that 5, 10, even 2, 5, 10, 15 years, build enough assets, resources, work, real world experience, mentors, networks, assets and skill sets to leave and start your own thing. Even doctors and lawyers eventually start their own practices. So you can do that. You can eventually leave. The second thing about the corporate thing is that no matter how much a corporation says they love you and you're amazing and people's important to us, I think that's great. There are companies that do a really good job of that. But the truth is, and from what I've seen, people can only be valued as high as number 2 in a corporation. Number 1 is always going to be money, the bottom line. So you have to understand that. And that was a big, and so now I stand for the idea that, people need to fight for their lives and build their own dreams and focus on, what's going to make them most successful and happy. Anyone who works in a corporate entity that makes them sad, makes them cry, doesn't support their health, doesn't support their mental health, doesn't support them above and beyond profitability, you need to leave, or at least have an exit strategy, or find something. And if I can help you in any way, I can and I will, because that's what I do. I help a lot of people make that transition. So it shaped who I am. People feel lost. People feel stuck. They feel stuck in and they have trouble with priorities. I hear people all the time who are miserable because they spend so much time at work, they miss their children. I hear people all the time who feel stuck because they work so hard, they don't have time to focus on their health. I hear people all the time who feel stuck and lost because they spend so much time doing something they can't stand or doesn't bring them fulfillment. And it's like, it's not worth it. You need to fight for your life. Fight for the person you want to live with and love the rest of your life. Fight for the job and career that fulfills you. Fight for your health because it matters so much to you. And so that's what I stand for. I stand for people who feel lost or stuck, and I tell them it's okay to feel lost. It's okay to feel stuck because we all feel stuck and lost sometimes. It's not okay to do nothing about it. It's not okay to not ask for help. It's not okay to continue to just suck it up. You should always work towards fulfillment in all areas of your life. You can't be like, gee, my job sucks, but at least I have my family. Or, gee, my family life's terrible, at least I love my job. No, work on making all those things amazing. And then with the health thing, yes, I mean, my wife, almost died of E. coli, and I had diabetes, and we had to change our life. And one of the things I realized is that, what? There are more important things in life than working your butt off for a corporate job. There are far more important things in life. This is even before we have the kids. This is just our own personal health. So I stand for that too now. I stand for the idea that, health is so important, and balance. And I don't call it work-life balance because that's pitting work against life. It's life balance. Life to balance all the things that are important to you, including your work, your social status, your emotional security, your financial, all that kind of stuff. So yeah, that's what I stand for. That's what I believe. And now everything I do is about, being true to our priorities and our values. And I struggle with my health. I'm working on the entrepreneurship, although most of it's pretty good, and some parts I struggle with. I try to work on my parenting and I work with my relationships, my friendships, and most of it is really, really good. And there's a few things I struggle with. But that whole episode, that 6 months, really shaped a lot of who I am and what I believe and how I live my life and the tribe I want to work with and create. You know, they say your vibe attracts your tribe. So that's my vibe, man. My vibe is all about love, compassion, balance, beauty, diversity, equality, and fighting for your life, the life you really want to live authentically, not feeling lost, not feeling stuck, and building your own dreams. Because I think at the end of the day, when you look at, when you look at the top 5 regrets of the dying, what do they say? They worry they it's focused on the people and connections that really matter that they wish they spent time with, and number two, they wish they'd spend more time exploring the grand diversity and magnificence of this earth. So if you want to do those things and you want to focus on the things, that's what you should be doing. So I share this story because I hope you'll find it resonates. I share a story because I hope you'll find it inspires. I share a story because I want to help even with this kick-ass video challenge and I want to make an impact. So that's who I am. That's what I do. That's my vibe. Hopefully you'll like to be part of my tribe. And if you have any questions or anything, you can always comment below and share your thoughts or ideas. I want to hear your stories. I want to hear your struggles. What has been the most vulnerable moment for you that's changed or impacted your life? I mean, for me, there's lots of lessons. I mean, but I shared the one that is, I think, a big one, and it's over 6 months. But for me, that was a big lesson, and I hope you found this useful. So I wish you guys all the best. Speaking of priorities, my wife's at the hospital to get a procedure done. I need to go pick her up and make sure she's okay because that's my priority. And that's also why I love being an entrepreneur and having the flexibility to do this and make this fit in my life. So if you like what you're hearing, by all means, check all my Fit in My Life page, check in all my other stuff. Again, I love sharing stuff, I love helping people. So have a great day, have a great lunch. Bye.